After playing the role of a wicked woman for a decade, my innermost thoughts were broadcasted live to everyone. In a desperate bid for survival, I diligently portrayed a malicious supporting character for 10 long years. Suddenly, the book transmigration system announced, "Congratulations, host, you are now free." What the system failed to mention was that this so-called freedom entailed broadcasting my genuine thoughts from the past 10 years directly into the minds of all those around me. Thus, the very moment I was pushed down the staircase by the male lead Fu Xian, he distinctly heard my inner voice. Finally pushed him away. Thank goodness, or else the chandelier falling in 3 seconds would have crushed him instead. Sigh, I've truly exhausted myself over these 10 years trying to save his wretched life. Fu Xian's expression froze instantly. Jiang Yao, you heartless woman, why don't you just die? Fu Xian's voice was as sharp as ice, each word striking at my heart. I clutched my elbow, which had been bruised when he pushed me down, awkwardly sprawled on the staircase, gazing up at him. He towered over me, his handsome face twisted with disdain and hatred, as though I were nothing more than filthy refuse. Behind him stood his beloved, the radiant Su Wana, clad in a pristine white dress, shrinking tearfully into Fu Xian's embrace, casting timid glances my way. Brother Xian, please don't blame Sister Yao Yao, she just loves you too much. What a classic line. What a quintessential scene. For 10 years, I have been enacting this same drama daily. According to the script provided by the system, I should now rise menacingly, pointing a finger at Su Wana, and scornfully declare, "You wretched creature. It's all your fault for seducing Fu Xian. I shall tear your face apart today." Yet before I could utter a word, the cold, mechanical voice of the system echoed in my mind.
Ding.
Strategy task completed. Host Jiang Yao, congratulations, you are free. I was taken aback. Free? Just like that? Before I could fully grasp this revelation, a sharp, piercing crack resonated above me. I jerked my head upward. The lavish crystal chandelier in the banquet hall was plummeting from the ceiling, aimed directly at the spot where Fu Xian and Su Wana stood. My pupils dilated, and I instinctively shouted, "Get away!" But the persona assigned to me by the system was that of the malicious supporting character, not the heroic savior. For the past decade, to save him, I had resorted to various schemes and traps, pushing him away from the brink of death time and time again. This time would be no different. In the final 3 seconds before the chandelier crashed down, I summoned every ounce of strength, scrambled to my feet, and dashed forward, shoving Fu Xian aside. He stumbled back, while I, having exerted too much force, tumbled down the staircase.
Boom.
A thunderous sound erupted as the chandelier shattered where I had just pushed him. The room erupted into screams. My body felt as if it had been dismantled, my forehead striking the steps, warm blood trickling down. Through my blurred vision, I saw Fu Xian standing unscathed, though his expression was one of extreme displeasure. He likely thought I was merely employing another ploy to elicit his sympathy.
Indeed.
His cold voice rang out once more, "Jiang Yao, what trick are you playing this time?" The pain left me speechless, and I could only critique silently in my mind. At least I had pushed him out of harm's way. Otherwise, he would have been struck by the falling chandelier 3 seconds later. Sigh. I had truly worried for his life over these 10 years. This dog of a man, how is it that he survives everything? Car accidents, falls, kidnappings, and assassination attempts without me? Forget it. Now that I am free, his life and death are no longer my concern. Just as I was about to close my eyes and savor my hard-won freedom, I noticed an eerie silence enveloping the room. Everyone was staring at me with expressions of shock, as if they had seen a ghost. Especially Fu Xian, whose typically stoic face now bore the marks of astonishment, confusion, and bewilderment. He stood frozen, as if struck by lightning, fixated on me, his lips moving yet failing to form any words. I was subsequently taken to the hospital, where the Fu family's private doctor treated my wounds, stitching up my forehead and placing my arm in a cast due to a minor fracture. Lying in the hospital bed, I stared at the ceiling, my mind a blank slate.
Free.
For 10 years, I had been a puppet, doing whatever the system commanded to earn survival points. I had insulted Fu Xian, bullied Su Wana, and turned myself into a complete farce. Now, I could finally be myself again. The first thing I would do was distance myself from the walking source of disaster that was Fu Xian. As the door to my hospital room swung open, Fu Xian entered. He had changed out of his disheveled suit into a black shirt, his expression still as dark as ever. Behind him, Su Wana was notably absent. "You're awake?" His voice was hoarse. I ignored him, turning my gaze toward the window. Seeing him annoyed me. After 10 years, I was nearly fatigued by the sight of his unchanging face. I needed to hasten my discharge and book a ticket to travel the world. Fu Xin's demeanor visibly stiffened. He approached my bedside, pulled out a chair, and sat down, studying me with a complex expression. Earlier in the banquet hall, he paused, seemingly searching for the right words. What was it I heard? My heart sank. He heard that? How could he hear my thoughts? Could this be what the system meant by freedom? Was it broadcasting my inner monologue live? Tentatively, I thought to myself, what a lovely day for a demise. Fu Xin's face turned ashen, and he abruptly stood up, the chair scraping against the floor with a jarring noise. Zhang Yao. He nearly growled my name through clenched teeth. Don't go too far. I understood. I truly understood. The system was not granting me freedom. It had simply swapped me from one cage for another, a larger one made of glass with no privacy. I was so enraged that I nearly leapt from the bed. Damn system. I wish your CPU would overheat, your circuits would burn out, and your code would become a chaotic mess, only to be struck by lightning on your way out. Fu Xin remained silent. His expression shifted from anger to suspicion, and then to a depth I could not comprehend. It seemed he was trying to ascertain something, inching closer to me, his dark eyes swirling with inscrutable emotions. So, you pushed me not to gain my attention, he said, his voice strained, but to save me? I shut my eyes, refusing to answer such a foolish question. Did he want me to admit that for the past decade, I had been a fool, enduring his disdain while silently shielding him from all calamities? I could not bear such humiliation. Save him? I would rather he perish. I had pushed him simply because he was in my way, standing there like a useless pole. Fu Xin reached out a hand toward me, halting midair. The atmosphere in the room turned oppressive, as if the very air had solidified. Zhang Yao, he enunciated deliberately. Look me in the eyes and say it again. I couldn't be bothered to respond. After all, he could hear me. What difference would it make if I spoke? Insane. Why should I heed you? Fu Xin, you'd best leave now and not disturb my plans for retirement. My idyllic fantasies were ruthlessly interrupted by him. You're not going anywhere. Fu Xin's cold voice cut through as he retrieved his phone and dialed a number. Cancel all of Jiang Mis's passports and identification documents. She is not permitted to leave the city without my consent. My eyes flew open in disbelief as I stared at him. What the hell? Fu Xin, have you lost your mind? By what right do you restrict my freedom? That's illegal. He hung up the phone, gazing down at me from a lofty height, his eyes brimming with a kind of obsessive madness. Illegal? Zhang Yao, which of the things you did to me was not against the law? You shall not leave my side until you have elucidated everything. I was infuriated to the point of laughter. Explain? Explain what? Should I elucidate how I masqueraded as a corporate spy to rescue him, leaking his business secrets to his rivals, when in truth that document was evidence of his rival's criminal activities? Or should I clarify how I deliberately wrecked his car during a race to ensure he missed the competition, thus avoiding a series of explosions? Perhaps I should elucidate how, in my attempt to save him, I poured ink into his favorite antique vase, provoking him to imprison me, only for that very private jet he was to take to meet with disaster that day? How could I possibly explain these actions? Should I confess that I possess a system capable of foreseeing his demise? Would he believe me? He would only think I was mad. Fu Xin, you are nothing but a megalomaniac, a paranoid, a control freak. I have no explanations to offer you. I have endured enough over these past 10 years. Let me go. My heart roared with indignation, yet outwardly, I maintained a facade of indifference. With each silent accusation I cast upon him, Fu Xin's complexion drained of color, inch by inch. The fury in his eyes gradually extinguished, replaced by a thick, inextricable pain and regret. He opened his mouth to speak, yet ultimately, he merely let his hands fall in defeat. I'm sorry, he murmured. Zhang Yao, I am sorry. These 3 words were what I had awaited for a decade. Yet upon hearing them now, I found them to be profoundly ironic. Fu Xin's apology did not merit my forgiveness. He had constrained my freedom, and I would not forget this debt. I spent 3 days in the hospital, and he remained by my side for the entirety. The mountain of documents from his company was all transported into my hospital room. As he attended to business matters, I lay in bed watching dramas or cursing him in my mind. Initially, with each insult I hurled, his expression grew increasingly grim, the veins in his hand, gripping the pen, bulging with tension. Yet as time passed, he seemed to adapt. Regardless of how I derided him as a dapper beast, capitalist scoundrel, or walking refrigeration unit, he maintained his composure, continuing to peruse the documents. His psychological fortitude was remarkably robust. That afternoon, an unexpected visitor arrived in the ward.
Suvania.
She entered with an exquisite fruit basket, clad in a delicate pink dress, her face adorned with light makeup, appearing pitifully fragile. "Sister, I came to see you," she said, placing the fruit basket down, concern etched across her features. "Is your injury feeling any better?" I rolled my eyes. Here she comes, the White Lotus heroine, armed with her script. Is the next line going to be, "It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, you and Brother Scene wouldn't have quarreled"? Sue Warner's smile froze on her face. She looked to Fu Scene for help, but he merely lowered his head, feigning interest in his documents, not even lifting his eyelids. Sue Warner bit her lip, her eyes welling with tears, on the verge of breaking down. "Sister Yao Yao, I know you dislike me. That incident was entirely my fault. If you must blame someone, blame me, and please don't be angry with Brother Scene anymore." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, the lines have escalated?" She playing the retreat to advance tactic? "Unfortunately, I am no longer susceptible to your charms. Previously, I had to cooperate with your theatrics for the sake of a mission, but now..." I threw off the covers and sat up, smiling sweetly at her.
Miss Sue, you jest.
"How could I possibly blame you? I owe you my gratitude." Sue Wana was taken aback. "Gratitude? Indeed." I nodded earnestly. "If it weren't for you, how could I have discerned what a foolish and arrogant man Fu Xin truly is? I've come to realize that such a man is best left to those who desire him. I certainly do not. Trash is meant to remain in the trash can. Just perfect for the two of you to pair up, so you can stop wreaking havoc on others." Uffed, a suppressed laugh erupted from the side. It was Fu Xin's assistant Lin Qian. He had just entered with a document and had fortuitously overheard our conversation and my internal monologue. At this moment, he was desperately stifling laughter, his face turning a shade of deep crimson. Fu Xin's expression darkened ominously. He lifted his gaze, casting a deathly stare at Lin Qian before it landed on me.
Su Anare's complexion fluctuated dramatically, a spectacle to behold. "Sister Yao Yao.
How can you speak of Brother Xin in such a manner?" She looked at me in disbelief. "He loves you so much." "Loves me?" I scoffed as if I had heard the greatest joke. "He loves me, yet he unreservedly blamed me for being pushed down the stairs by another woman, treating me like a criminal?" I gestured towards the two bodyguards at the door. "Miss Sue, do you truly equate this with love? If so, you have certainly redefined the word. This thought process would make a fantastic script." Sue Wano was rendered speechless, her small face flushed with embarrassment. Her pleading gaze once again turned to Fu Xin. This time, Fu Xin finally reacted. He set down the documents, stood up, and walked over to Sue Warner. I couldn't help but smirk inwardly. "Oh, feeling sympathetic now? Ready to defend your beloved white moonlight?" Fu Xin did not glance at me but spoke to Sue Warner in a flat tone. "You should return now." Sue Warner was taken aback, her tears shimmering in her eyes. "Brother Xin," she began. "Go back." Fu Xin's tone grew firmer, leaving no room for argument. Sue Warner cast him a look of grievance, then shot me a resentful glare before she reluctantly turned to leave. In the ward, only the three of us remained. Oh no, rather two, with Lin Qian nearly bursting from laughter at the side. Fu Xin turned back to me, his gaze inscrutable. "Jiang Yao," he began, his voice somewhat hoarse. "I was in the wrong regarding the past. I apologize to you." However, he shifted his tone. "I will not let you go." He stepped closer, his fervent gaze locking onto mine. "You are right. I have been a fool. I have been foolish for 10 years, and now I refuse to be foolish any longer. I demand an answer. Regarding the chandelier, regarding everything that transpired over the past decade, I seek the truth. The truth? The truth is you are a calamity incarnate. Where you go, disaster follows. Whatever you do, chaos ensues. And I am merely a bodhisattva who crossed paths with you by sheer misfortune, destined to assist you through your tribulations. Now that my duties are fulfilled, you are free to go wherever suits you." My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, yet my expression remained tranquil. Fu Xin's face shifted from dark to pale, then pale to dark again. Ultimately, he took a deep breath, as if making a momentous decision. "Very well. If you do not speak, I will investigate myself." Fu Xin was true to his word. The following day, Lin Qian arrived with a mountain of documents, all purported evidence of my past schemes against Fu Xin over the last decade. He proceeded to re-examine each incident before my very eyes. The first incident was from 3 years ago, when I leaked confidential information from his company. Once, Fu Xiyuan nearly suffered a loss of a project worth billions due to my betrayal. He confined me within the villa for an entire month.
Now,
Lin Xian presented the latest investigation results before him. President Fu, we have clarified the matter. The opposing company we competed with back then was indeed a shell corporation, whose sole aim was to deceive us of our core technology. Shortly after acquiring the fake confidential information from Miss Jiang, that company was sealed off for fraud, and its responsible party remains incarcerated. Lin Xian paused, cautiously glancing at me. Moreover, our investigation revealed that it was also Miss Jiang who anonymously reported that company to the police back then. Fu Xiyuan's grip on the documents tightened, his knuckles turning white. He remained silent for a long while before raising his gaze to meet mine, his eyes reflecting a vulnerability I had never witnessed before.
Why?
He inquired. Why didn't you tell me? I could barely muster the energy to respond. Tell you? Should I reveal that I possess a system capable of foreseeing your impending betrayal? That would only lead to you regarding me as a monster, sending me to a research facility for dissection? Fu Xiyuan merely opened and closed his lips a few times, ultimately saying nothing, only picking up the second document. The next issue pertained to the car incident I had caused. Lin Xian's voice trembled ever so slightly. President Fu, we have also investigated the aftermath of that race. The driver who won the championship, on his way home after receiving the award, suffered brake failure and plunged off a cliff, resulting in both vehicle and life lost. The police investigation uncovered that someone had tampered with his car. He continued, the original target of the tampering was you. The hospital room fell into a deathly silence. Fu Xiyuan's breathing grew labored. He lifted his head, his eyes reddened and fixed on me, resembling a wounded beast. So, you crashed my car to save me? I stifled a yawn, turning away from him. What else could it be? Did you think I had nothing better to do than spend millions on a new car just to create a ruckus? Fu Xiyuan's towering figure swayed slightly. It seemed he could hardly bear the weight of this successive barrage of revelations as he slumped into the chair, his hands pressing painfully against his face. Lin Xian stood by, not daring to breathe. I felt Fu Xiyuan's gaze burn into my back like a branding iron. After what felt like an eternity, I heard him mutter in a voice nearly broken, Zhang Yao, what have I truly done to you? What had he done? Honestly, not much, merely treated me as an enemy, a lunatic, and refuse. But that was of no consequence. At least I am free now, and from here on out, paths will diverge. Once I leave the hospital, the first thing I will do is exhaust your credit card, reclaiming what you owe me in emotional damages over the past decade, principal and interest included. Lost in my delightful fantasies of shopping, I was oblivious to the fact that the moment Fu Xiyuan heard my thoughts, he abruptly lifted his head, a glimmer of light flashing in his reddened eyes. On the day of my discharge, Fu Xiyuan personally came to collect me. Behind him trailed a line of bodyguards clad in black, along with Lin Xian, who held a large bouquet of champagne roses. To an outsider, it would appear as if a prominent figure was making an appearance.
Zhang Yao. Fu Xiyuan approached me,
Presenting a black velvet box. Upon opening it, I discovered a black card and a set of keys. The card has no password. Feel free to use it as you wish. He gazed at me with fervor. The keys are for the hillside villa, and all my properties, including sports cars, have been transferred to your name. I was taken aback. What the hell? Has this man suddenly turned over a new leaf and started treating me well? No, something's amiss. There must be a catch.
A barely perceptible smirk graced Fu Xiyuan's lips.
There is no trickery. It was as if he could see through my thoughts, or rather, he could hear them. This is what I owe you. He paused, a hint of supplication in his tone. Is the compensation for your emotional distress sufficient? If not, I can add more. I was left speechless. Is the world of the wealthy truly this uncomplicated? I silently accepted the card and keys, deciding to temporarily overlook his past confinement of me. After all, it would be foolish to squander an opportunity due to money. I suppose I can grant you a partial forgiveness, just this once. Fu Xiyuan's eyes lit up instantly, as if he had received an enormous favor. His expression radiated an unfamiliar joy. I felt somewhat unnerved under his gaze and hastily changed the subject. I won't be residing in your villa. Take me back to my own home. His expression visibly soured. Your home? He furrowed his brow. That small, dilapidated apartment? What of its size? What of its condition? That is my home. No golden or silver nest can compare to one's own abode. Besides, living in your territory, would I still possess any freedom? Who knows when I might inadvertently offend you and find myself confined again? Fu Xiyuan's face darkened further. I will not confine you again, he hastily assured. I swear. I had no faith in his words. A man's words are often deceptive. Anyone who believes them is a fool. Fu Siyuan appeared wounded, resembling a golden retriever abandoned by its owner. Ultimately, he relented and drove me back to my small apartment himself. Standing at the base of the apartment building, he gazed at me with reluctance. Jiang Yao, may I come to see you tomorrow? I waved the black card in my hand. It depends on your behavior. With that, I turned to leave without looking back. Tomorrow, I shall max out this card and watch him squirm. To my surprise, Fu Siyuan did not appear distressed. Instead, he chuckled softly, a sound laced with relief. On my first day of freedom, I slept until the sun was high in the sky. Without the system's relentless demands or burdensome tasks, this sensation was utterly delightful. I hummed a tune, rummaging through my wardrobe for quite some time before selecting a beautiful dress and applying a meticulous makeup, ready to indulge in a shopping spree. Just as I opened the door, I was met by Fu Siyuan's enlarged, handsome face. Clad in casual attire, he held an assortment of breakfast bags, poised to ring the doorbell. I was taken aback. What are you doing here? I came to bring you breakfast. He handed me the items with a charming smile. Not knowing what you liked, I bought a bit of everything. I observed the dark circles under his eyes and the slightly wrinkled clothing. This fellow, had he been waiting downstairs all night?
Fu Siyuan esse gase folterd.
No, I just arrived. A blatant lie. The creases in his collar could practically ensnare a fly. Fu Siyuan instinctively reached to adjust his collar, his expression somewhat awkward. I chose not to confront him, accepting the breakfast and attempting to close the door. However, he swiftly blocked it with his foot. Jiang Yao, he looked at me with pitiful eyes. May I come in for a moment?
Just for a little while.
As I gazed upon his strikingly handsome face, which could incite both admiration and envy, paired with an expression reminiscent of a puppy's, I felt a momentary softening of my heart. Perhaps it was due to his gestures of goodwill, bringing me money and breakfast, that I decided to permit him entry. After all, there were certain matters that needed addressing. Fu Siyuan's eyes sparkled with delight as he promptly squeezed through the door. My modest apartment, a one-bedroom abode, had been adorned with warmth and coziness. However, upon his entrance, this towering figure, over 6 feet tall, rendered the space somewhat cramped. He awkwardly stood by the entrance, resembling a child caught in a misdeed, unsure of where to place his limbs. Make yourself comfortable, I gestured toward the sofa. Obediently, he sank into the seat, his posture impeccably straight. I placed the breakfast on the dining table, poured myself a glass of water, and took a seat across from him. Fu Siyuan, I stated directly. We need to talk. Immediately, he straightened in his seat, adopting a demeanor of attentive seriousness. I understand that you might feel guilt or curiosity towards me at this moment. I continued. Regardless of which sentiment it is, I wish for you to comprehend that our relationship has come to an end. Over the past decade, the charade has exhausted me, and your resentment has surely worn you down as well. Now that we have finally liberated ourselves, let us each pursue our own paths. His complexion paled drastically, and he abruptly rose, visibly agitated. What do you mean by end? Jiang Yao, you cannot simply leave. I do not consent. I furrowed my brow at him, fully aware that reasoning with him would prove futile. This man's obstinacy seemed incurable. You may disagree, but you must accept it, I retorted with a stern expression. Fu Siyuan, listen closely. Jiang Yao, wish to sever any ties between us. I will return the money you have given me. From this moment forward, you shall tread your own path while I navigate mine. That's impossible. His eyes flared crimson, akin to an enraged lion. He advanced toward me step by step, emanating an oppressive aura that nearly rendered me breathless. Jiang Yao, you have saved me countless times, and I have yet to repay you. How can you leave? You wish for me to stay? Only if I were to die. His brazen demeanor incited a mix of amusement and exasperation within me. Repayment? The best form of gratitude you could offer would be to remain at a distance. And unless I die? Do you believe I would shy away from that threat? Would you like me to procure a knife so that we could meet our demise together? Before I could finish my internal monologue, Fu Siyuan suddenly leaned down and enveloped me in his arms. His embrace was unyielding, as though he intended to meld me into his very being. The warmth of his breath cascaded against my ear. Please don't go, he murmured, his voice tinged with tremors and desperation. Jiang Yao, do not leave me. I beg you. I was taken aback by this unexpected display from Fu Siyuan. Was this truly the same individual who previously dismissed me as inconsequential? How had he transformed from a lofty figure into a clingy giant in just a few days? Release me. A man and woman should maintain a respectful distance. If you do not let go, I shall scream harassment. Internally, I struggled fiercely, yet my body remained rigid, and immobile. Fu Siyuan tightened his grip further.
I will not let go.
He buried his face in my neck, his voice muffled and resolute. Not for this lifetime. I was left speechless. Had he lost his sanity? Once the one pursuing me to leave, now he clung to me, refusing to let go. Fu Siyuan, do you suffer from some form of split personality? His body stiffened momentarily. Gradually, he released me but kept his hands resting on my shoulders. His gaze a tumultuous blend of emotions. Jiang Yao, I am not mad. He inhaled deeply, as if steeling himself for a momentous declaration. I love you. The thunderous weight of those 3 words left me momentarily disoriented. I stared at him, questioning whether I was experiencing auditory hallucinations. You love me?
Ha!
Fu Siyuan. Has a chandelier fallen on your head? What is there to love about me? Your decade-long humiliation of me? Or perhaps your treatment of me as a mere substitute? A stumbling block in your romance with Suwaner? Do not jest. Your love is a burden I cannot bear. While I internally mocked him, I could see his expression darkening. The light within his eyes dimmed, replaced by an abyss of sorrow and regret. I understand that you will not believe me. He spoke hoarsely. I know I have been an utter cad in the past. But, Jiang Yao, please grant me another chance. Allow me to compensate you. To treat you well, let me enough. I raised my hand to halt his heartfelt confession. Fu Siyuan, please retract your words. I regarded him coldly. I do not seek your compensation, nor do I covet your love. I simply wish to live my own life now. Please do not intrude upon it. I issued my decree for him to leave. Fu Siyuan remained rooted to the spot, his gaze fixed on me, as if attempting to etch my image into his soul. After a long silence, he nodded. Very well. I will not disturb you. With that, he turned and departed my apartment, exuding an air of melancholy. Observing his desolate figure, I felt no sense of satisfaction, only a nagging irritation. At last, he has left. I hoped he would honor his word and refrain from reappearing. However, I was far too naive. Fu Siyuan indeed ceased to disturb me. He merely adopted a more suffocating approach to remain a part of my life. The following day, as I embarked on a shopping spree, I discovered upon entering the mall that it had been entirely cleared for my benefit. The manager and a host of attendants stood at the entrance, bowing deeply. Miss Jiang, President Fu has instructed that the entire mall is to serve only you today. I was taken aback. Fu Siyuan, you extravagant fool. Clearing a mall doesn't come without a price. Entering a luxury boutique, I casually picked up a bag, only to be met with an enthusiastic sales associate. Miss Jiang, you have exquisite taste. This is our brand's latest model, limited to 3 worldwide. And President Fu has already purchased it for you. I was speechless. At another jewelry store, I admired a necklace. The attendant beamed brighter than flowers, exclaiming, Miss Jiang, this is the Tears of the Stars that President Fu specifically acquired for you. The designer insists that only someone of your caliber deserves its beauty. Once again, I was left voiceless. After a day of shopping, I returned home empty-handed. Everywhere I went, everything I desired had already been purchased by Fu Siyuan in advance. That evening, as I opened my door, I was greeted by a mountain of shopping bags and gift boxes, leaving me momentarily speechless. In the center of the living room stood Fu Siyuan, wearing an expression that begged for approval. Do you like it? He asked. I prepared all of this for you. I looked at him, rendered speechless by my fury. Like it? Fu Siyuan, are you humiliating me with your wealth? Do you think that having money makes you superior? Do you think that this will atone for the pain you have inflicted upon me in the past? I declared with a piercing intensity. Let me assure you, it is impossible. The smile on Fu Siyuan's face faltered, his complexion gradually draining of color, rendering him pale. I did not mean it that way. He stammered in a flustered manner. I merely wish to bring you joy. I am at a loss as to how I can earn your forgiveness. Lin Qian mentioned that girls are fond of such gestures. Observing his helpless demeanor, my anger inexplicably diminished by half. What a misguided suggestion from that dog-headed strategist, Lin Qian. Did he think I lacked such trivialities? What I yearned for was freedom. Fu Siyuan seemed to seize upon the essence of my words, his eyes brightening with curiosity. Freedom? He inquired tentatively. What kind of freedom do you desire? As long as you voice it, and it is within my capabilities. Gazing at him, a sudden idea struck me, one that might shatter his resolve entirely. I smirked and approached him, reaching out to entwine my fingers in his tie, pulling him closer. My warm breath fanned against his face. Fu Siyuan, I whispered tantalizingly and dangerously in his ear, you wish to compensate me, do you not? Very well. I want you. I paused, satisfied as I beheld the flames igniting in his eyes. I want you to retrieve, one by one, all that Suwana has taken from me over the years. I demanded that he personally obliterate his cherished white moonlight. I wanted him to choose between his so-called true love and me, his enemy.
Fusian, do you dare?
His body stiffened abruptly, the fire in his eyes extinguished, replaced by shock and disbelief. What did you say? I said, I emphasized, enunciating each word. I want you to destroy Suwana. Releasing his tie, I stepped back, watching him with a sense of calm intrigue. What's the matter? Are you afraid? Do you not adore me? Do you not wish to compensate me? Is this trivial task beyond your capabilities? Fu Xian's expression darkened to an extreme degree. He regarded me with a gaze that wavered between struggle, anguish, and a hint of an inscrutable emotion. I was acutely aware that my demand was excessive. Suwana was his beloved white moonlight, the one he had cherished for a decade. Despite the revelations of the past, 10 years of affection could not simply be severed. I intended to use Suwana to compel him, to force him to confront his own heart, and to ultimately let go. Hesitating were you? I knew it. All that talk of love and compensation was mere pretense. The moment his white moonlight was mentioned, he faltered. Fu Xian, you coward. My inner voice pierced him like daggers, his pallor intensifying. He clenched his fists tightly, the veins on the back of his hands bulging, as though he were enduring immense suffering. Just as I suspected he would refuse, he lifted his head, his eyes, now reddened, locking onto mine. Very well. He forced out a single word through gritted teeth. I agree. I was taken aback. Did he truly agree? Was he genuinely prepared to confront Suwana for my sake? Was this man serious? Seemingly oblivious to my astonishment, Fu Xian retrieved his phone and dialed Lin Qian. His voice was as cold as ice. Lin Qian, notify everyone that Fu Group will cease all collaborations with the Su family. Furthermore, investigate everything Suwana has done under my name over the years, gather evidence, and present it to the media. I want her to be utterly disgraced. On the other end of the line, Lin Qian appeared taken aback, stammering, Fu Zong, are you certain? Me Su. I am certain, Fu Xian interrupted, his tone leaving no room for argument. Do as I say. After hanging up, he turned his gaze back to me. Are you satisfied now? I regarded him, my emotions a tumultuous blend. I had anticipated hesitation, refusal, or a quarrel between him and Suwana. Yet, I had not foreseen his unhesitating agreement, so decisive that it felt surreal. Could he be performing for my benefit? Pretending to agree, waiting for me to lower my guard, only to secretly assist Suwana? Fu Xian seemed stung by my thoughts. He stepped forward, grasping my wrist with a grip that was alarmingly fierce. Zhang Yao, he bellowed, is this how you perceive me, as a base and despicable villain? I have stated my intent to compensate you. Whatever you desire, even if it costs me my life, I would bestow upon you. But please, do not resort to such methods to test me, to torment me. His voice bore a tinge of pleading and despair. I beheld the redness in his eyes, and my doubts began to waver. Could it be that he truly... No, it was impossible. This had to be a ruse. I wrenched my arm from his grasp, coldly retorting, the truth will reveal itself soon enough. Fu Xian, I await your demonstration. Fu Xian's actions were swifter than I had anticipated. By the following morning, major news outlets were dominated by Suwana's scandal. Pure and innocent Suwana is, in fact, a scheming green tea. Suwana exploited the Fu Group CEO's name to suppress newcomers and seize resources. Suwana fabricated her credentials, her persona shattered. Each alarming headline was accompanied by a plethora of damning evidence, recordings, videos, contracts. Suwana's carefully cultivated image of purity and kindness was obliterated overnight, leaving not a trace. The internet erupted in outrage. Her Weibo was besieged by furious netizens demanding she exit the entertainment industry. The Su family faced repercussions as well. The Fu Group's unilateral termination of collaboration sent the Su family stock plummeting, teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. Suwana's parents, alongside her, attempted to confront Fu Xian outside the Fu Group building but were thwarted by security. Suwana knelt on the ground, sobbing heartbreakingly, drawing a crowd of reporters and onlookers. Meanwhile, I sat on the sofa in Fu Xian's office, observing the spectacle below through the surveillance footage. Ah, how the tides have turned. Not long ago, she had used her tear-streaked visage to elicit Fu Xian's sympathy, rendering me the target of disdain. Now, retribution had arrived. Fu Xian sat across from me, silently peeling an apple. He appeared utterly indifferent to the chaos unfolding below. Do you feel vindicated? he asked softly as he handed me the sliced apple. I accepted the fruit, taking a bite, savoring its sweetness and crispness. Perhaps it is satisfactory. But truly, this was merely the beginning. She owes me more than this. Fu Siyuan's hand, peeling the apple, paused momentarily. He lifted his gaze to meet mine, inquiring, "What else do you desire?" I offered a faint smile, choosing silence. At that moment, a knock echoed through the office door, and Lin Qian entered. "President Fu, Miss Jiang," he greeted respectfully before reporting. "Miss Su has been causing quite a commotion downstairs, threatening that if you do not see her, she will end her life at the company entrance." I raised an eyebrow. The old ploy of crying, creating a scene, and threatening self-harm? How dreadfully unoriginal. Fu Siyuan's brow remained unfurrowed. "Let her make a fuss," he replied coldly. "Call an ambulance to stand by. I cannot afford a mess on my premises." Lin Qian nodded. Understood. After Lin Qian departed, the office returned to its tranquil state. I regarded Fu Siyuan, suddenly feeling a veil of enigma surrounding him. Did he truly harbor no lingering feelings for Su Honor? Just then, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered, and a shrill, venomous voice pierced through the line.
Jiang Yao.
"You wretched woman. Are you satisfied now? You've destroyed everything I had. Are you satisfied? I assure you, this is far from over. Just wait. Even in death, I will drag you down with me." The call abruptly ended. I tightened my grip on the phone, furrowing my brow. A cornered dog will jump over the wall, but what could she possibly do now? She was akin to a toothless tiger, no longer a threat. As I contemplated this, I noticed Fu Siyuan's complexion had turned a ghostly white. He surged to his feet and dashed towards me, snatching my phone with urgency. "Where did she call you from?" he demanded anxiously. "Speak quickly." His intense demeanor left me momentarily bewildered. How would I know? Before I could finish my sentence, a deafening crash resonated from the office window. A drone had shattered the glass, hovering ominously in the air. Beneath it, a ticking time bomb was secured, the red numbers displaying 0010. My pupils dilated as I froze in shock. Good heavens! Is this really happening?
Run.
Fu Siyuan reacted swiftly, yanking me from the sofa and enveloping me in his arms as we bolted outside. His chest was solid and warm, the rhythm of his heartbeat resonating strongly. In that instant, I found myself devoid of fear. 9, 8, 7. The countdown on the bomb felt like a death knell. In the corridor, employees screamed in panic, scattering in every direction. Fu Siyuan held me tightly, navigating against the tide of chaos, his destination clear. The rooftop.
Hold on to me,
he shouted, his voice slightly unsteady from the exertion. Instinctively, I clung to his waist. This man could run quite fast, though I wondered if we would make it in time. Ah well, if death were to come, at least I would drag this insufferable man down with me, which didn't seem too regrettable. Fu Siyuan's body stiffened momentarily. He quickened his pace. "Shut up," he gritted through clenched teeth. "No more nonsense.
I won't let you die."
Finally, with only 3 seconds remaining on the countdown, we burst onto the rooftop. The wind whipped violently, nearly forcing my eyes shut. A helicopter awaited us, poised for takeoff. Fu Siyuan lifted me effortlessly, leaping aboard just as we secured the doors. A thunderous explosion erupted behind us, the sound reverberating through the air. The fiery inferno erupted from his office, engulfing everything in its vicinity. The entire building trembled violently. I pressed against the window, staring down at the sea of flames below, my heart racing with lingering dread. What a lunatic! Su Wanner truly was insane. She intended to take us both down with her. Thankfully, Fu Siyuan had reacted swiftly. I instinctively turned to look at the man beside me. He leaned against the back of his seat, pallid, beads of cold sweat dotting his forehead, gasping for breath. His arms remained tightly wrapped around my waist, refusing to loosen. "Are you all right?" I asked almost unconsciously. He lifted his gaze to mine, his dark eyes swirling with relief and fear. He did not answer my question, but instead pulled me even closer into his embrace. "Thank goodness," he croaked, his voice hoarse and tinged with an imperceptible tremor. "Thank goodness you are unharmed. Jiang Yao, thank goodness you are safe." He repeated the phrase as if seeking confirmation. I found it difficult to breathe in his hold, yet I made no move to push him away. At that moment, my heart was in disarray. This man seemed genuinely concerned for me. It wasn't an act. "Fu Siyuan, what are you truly?" My thoughts were interrupted by the urgent ring of my phone. It was Lin Qian calling. Fu Siyuan released me to answer, his expression darkening instantly. What did you say? She escaped? A bunch of useless fools. Find her. Turn the entire city upside down if you must, but bring her to me. He hung up, his face contorted with rage. Suwana has fled, he informed me. I nodded, acknowledging the grim news. A monk may run, but the temple remains. She was now a wanted fugitive, with no money to her name. Where could she possibly go? As I finished my thoughts, I heard Fu Xiyun declare in an exceptionally serious tone, Jiang Yao, from today onward, you will move in with me. Until she is captured, you are not to leave my side. I frowned, ready to refuse. Again? Did he intend to imprison me in another guise? This is not imprisonment. Fu Xiyun seemed to read my thoughts, hastily explaining, it is for your safety. Su Wanner has lost her sanity. She is capable of anything. I cannot allow you to be in any danger. His gaze was imbued with an unprecedented seriousness and resolve. I stared at him, unable to muster the words to refuse. Very well, I shall reluctantly forgive him this time.
The end.
Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next story.